welcome to Jorie AI's. We like to call it a demo. We like to call it conversation, but we've got a very special guest with us today, and this is about autonomous AI. So we're not just going to show how it works. We're going to talk to a real live client, and Traci's agreed to be a part of that, and we're so thankful for that. So before we get started, I'm Chris Mashburn. I'm the COO of Jorie Healthcare. Really, it's been an amazing ride for us, and Sal's going to get into a little bit of that. Sal Lo, our co-founder and CEO, he is, a lot of you have probably talked to Sal via Zoom demo. He's the Zoom demo guy.
That's right.
For sure. Yeah, he is. And then Traci Thibodeaux, who is one of our early on adapters, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how it's working in her hospital system and a little bit about some other things as far as case study goes. So with that, Sal, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, all right. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you all coming here to learn about the automation. Thank you. Oh, not necessary. All right. Got to hold it down a bit, all right? I know there's wine here, but anyways. And thank you, Traci, for joining us. We're really excited because here's a real-life example of using AI in a rural environment, in an area where you've got lots of different things going on against you, right? And so she's been with us for, close to 2 years now, and she has seen real-life improvement to help bring care and delivery into the areas where, without her, they'd be traveling literally hours to get to their care. So thank you, Traci, for coming on board. And we're going to share with you some of her numbers here. So, Chris, maybe you could talk a little bit about this, and I can kind of comment in it, Traci, as well. These are her numbers coming from her hospitals, or her hospital. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Traci, I'm going to let you speak just high level. We don't have to go into the numbers, but you spoke a little bit already about prior auth denials. In EV. So can you just talk us through what your hospital system saw as it relates to the revenue leakage, the increased operational cost, and then just what you saw in net collection increase?
Yeah, so we had very manual processes, a high turnover in staff, difficulty in replacing those staff members with experienced subject matter experts. And so we were in this cycle of dysfunction. We had poor leadership. And so we had no feedback loop to any of our hospital departments or our clinics as far as what the eligibility and verification errors and denials were. So we're not, transferring knowledge and sharing information on how to close gaps. And so we just were in this vortex of dysfunction, and the layering in of the automation and the bot technology has just propelled us to a much better state. Like I said before, with half the human support staff that we had prior. And so we were, status quo on everything. And so, it hurt us on the denial rate. It caused our AR to age unnecessarily. It meant we didn't get paid on things. We had to do an exorbitant number of write-offs, and so we blew up our revenue cycle. Partnered with Meditech Expanse to optimize our electronic platform, and then layered in the subject matter experts and revenue cycle using the automation and the bot technology with Jorie, and that has just propelled us. We're on track to have a top performing revenue cycle. We've made some changes along the way with our clearinghouse and transferring into the Waystar environment has all been very good. And it's just been force multipliers all the way around.
What does your revenue look like year over year? Have you seen an increase, and what does that look like for the hospital system?
Yeah, we have seen an increase, even though we had a dip in volume recently due to and we had a pediatrician, a 59-year-old pediatrician, pass away unexpectedly mid-year last year, and it caused several of my employed physicians who were at retirement age to get a wake-up call and just tap out. They gave 90 days notice, so I lost 4 providers in a very short time last year.
Wow.
It affected our clinic volume and, some of the ancillaries that are driven to our hospital. So, but even with the dip in volume, we still achieved, just incredible results on cash and collections.
That's great.
That's incredible, Tracy. Imagine a decrease in census because of factors you can't control, like physicians leaving, and still the automation still able to find money and increase their overall net revenue. Think about some of these numbers pre-Jorie. They're not bad, as a matter of fact. A 9% EV denial, which is eligibility verification. This kind of industry standard across the board, maybe sometimes up to 12 to 15%. You got prior auth denials at 2%. So she really didn't have that bad of a benchmark, but we still can improve that and get it down by 75% or greater. Gross collection rates still, again, 22%. That's kind of right around where your charges are going to land, and down to what you're going to get in your net collections. And then at the end of the day, it's net collections 34.6. We want to increase that. So let's show that on the next slide, some changes that we had there over a year. So you can see, look at that on the top left, EV denial rate. From on the red there, this is the pre-Jorie numbers. And look how much we've taken that down from 9% to 0.5%. Only automation could do that kind of numbers, right? This is really where the execution is. A 94% reduction in year one, okay? So the prior authorization denials, you can see there, it's, we're hitting that at 2%, and looking at what we've reduced it to 0.48%, and then in 2025, 0.11%. This automation, if it's going to fail prior authorization, we want to make sure it's failed it because it wasn't going to get through anyhow. That's the final one. It's not from medical necessity, and we were able to get this through to the insurance companies. At the end of the day, this is what it means from a net revenue collection percentage. When we're looking at 34.6 million and we gain it to 39, well, you'll do the math. You're talking about a 13% increase. There's some fluctuations there. Well, obviously, first year increase in volume or decrease in volume on the second year. At the end of the day, it's making money. And that's where the automation should do, is point to that dollar amount. The reason why I love to have Traci here is because the rural hospitals are the most vulnerable. Their impact here is the greatest, and it's the most clear case study. If you have a multi-billion-dollar hospital, the case studies are a little bit more convoluted. It's harder to pinpoint where that's going to be. But imagine if a multi-billion-dollar hospital did a full transformation like this, if they could, right? The amount of money we could save the institutions today is in the billions of dollars. So at the end, what we're proving out here, having Traci on board, is if a rural hospital could transform like this, why aren't the multi-billion-dollar hospitals? She's beating them out, folks.
Yeah, because Traci's not running them is one reason.
Exactly. It takes someone to roll up their sleeves and say, we're going to do this from day one. I remember when I first met you at a Becker's conference in remote, and you had a little glass of wine. And we said, all right, 5 minutes it all took her to understand what she was going up against, and then transform her hospital into a producer today. So thank you, Traci, for giving us the opportunity. And obviously, we're proud to showcase what this could do, because it really clearly benchmarks what transformation is about in a healthcare institution. Incredible numbers.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And again, we're just doing more with half the labor burden that we had before, and so getting incredible results. And the board, I'm their hero.
I mean, if Traci has to come in front of her board and take a risk with us and say that, hey, we tried this automation and it fails, Jorie wouldn't be in business today, right? But when she goes in front of the board and has to be accountable for the technology and represents the finance of healthcare, I'm going to take this all the way to the HFMA, and we're going to launch it across the board and try to champion this, because it's not how big you are. All right, it's how impactful you are to create transformation in the industry. And Traci is a good model of that transformation. To be a leader, to focus on transformation and actually make the transformation happen for your hospital. And only a few people can make that happen today. With so many leaders and our institutions have, and how complex it is to go through this process. Traci, thanks for being that type of leader to get us through that.
Appreciate it.